Before this story truly begins, pause for just a moment. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Not because this story is easy to listen to, not because it will make you feel comfortable, but because some stories don't end when the video does. Some stories stay with you. They follow you into quiet rooms. They surface when the lights are off and the world is finally still. And if you've ever felt something you weren't supposed to feel, if you've ever stood too close to a line you promised yourself you'd never cross, if you've ever discovered that the heart doesn't always ask permission, then this story is for you. Because not every story begins with love. Some begin with restraint, with silence that lingers a second too long, with conversations that sound harmless but feel heavy, with emotions buried so deep they convince you they don't exist, until one day, they demand to be seen. This is one of those stories. I never planned to fall for her. I didn't even allow myself to imagine it. Because from the very beginning, she was forbidden. Not just unavailable. Not just taken. She was untouchable in every way that mattered. She belonged to a life already built. A marriage already written. A future that had no empty space where I could fit. And I was supposed to be nothing more than a background detail in her world. A neighbor she waved to. A familiar face passed on the sidewalk. A safe, harmless distance. But desire doesn't respect rules. And restraint, no matter how strong, always has a breaking point. Her name was Ayese. She lived 2 houses down from mine, in a place that looked almost unreal in its perfection. The kind of house that feels staged, like it belongs in a magazine instead of real life. Fresh paint that never seemed to dull. Windows that always glowed warmly at night. A small garden out front that bloomed even when the weather turned cruel. From the outside, it looked like a life that needed nothing. A life without cracks. Her husband, Daniel, traveled often for work. When he was home, his car filled the driveway like a silent warning. A reminder. A boundary clearly drawn. She was married. She was committed. She was not mine. And I reminded myself of that every time I saw her. But when he left, something changed. The house felt quieter. Not peaceful, just quiet. The kind of quiet that presses in on you. The kind that feels heavier than noise. And without knowing why, I felt it too. At first, we barely spoke. Polite nods. Quick smiles. The occasional good morning or evening. Nothing more. Nothing dangerous. Until the night that changed everything. It was an ordinary evening. The kind that should have disappeared into memory like all the others. The heat of the day was finally breaking. The air felt softer. Slower. I was sitting on my porch, doing nothing in particular, letting the day fade out of me. That's when I saw her. Barefoot. Walking slowly down the sidewalk, holding a mug with both hands. Steam curled up from it, dissolving into the night air. She smiled when she noticed me. Then she slowed. Then she stopped. "Long day?" she asked. Her voice was gentle. But tired. Not the kind of tired that comes from work. The kind that comes from carrying too much alone. "Every day," I said. She laughed softly. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. But it settled somewhere deep in my chest. Like it had always belonged there. We talked for maybe 10 minutes. Nothing important. Nothing revealing. The weather. The neighborhood. Small safe things. But when she finally walked away, something felt different. The conversation had ended. The feeling hadn't. After that, we started talking more. On sidewalks. Across fences. In moments that looked accidental, but never truly were. We talked about books that stayed with us longer than they should have. About choices we made too quickly, and others we waited too long to make. About that strange kind of loneliness that exists even when you're not alone. She never spoke badly about her husband. Not once. And somehow, that made everything worse. Because this wasn't about anger. Or resentment. Or escape. It was about absence. I started noticing the small things. The way her smile faded when her phone lit up with Daniel's name. The way she lingered when our conversations should have ended. The way her eyes searched mine. Like she was looking for permission she didn't want to ask for. And I noticed myself changing too. Thinking about her late at night. Replaying the sound of her laughter in my head. Wondering what it would feel like to touch her hand. Just once. I told myself it was harmless. I was wrong. The tension didn't arrive suddenly. It built slowly, quietly, like heat trapped beneath the skin. Every glance carried more meaning than it should have. Every pause felt louder than words. We both knew something was happening, and we both pretended it wasn't. Until the night everything broke.